Time flies, guys, and it seems like only yesterday I've got myself a Fuji X Pro 3, but here we are, 1 year later. It definitely lasted longer than my high school relationships. My first video after I got it is surprisingly the most popular one, even though it wasn't a full-scale review or something, since I was coming from using X-T3 and X-T30, so performance-wise I basically knew what I was getting. My X Pro 3 was a constant hero of episodes on this channel throughout this year, and now that the shutter count hit 10,000 clicks, I decided to share my long-term usage impressions and talk about the camera again, because why not? Hey guys, it's Aperture Value, and yes, you saw the thumbnail, 10,000 shots. I guess the previous owner wasn't the first one after all. No wonder his name was Dick. So I got my X Pro 3 used. Don't think that I'm some kind of maniac that shoots 30 photos every day. Even though I have it only for 1 year, people used this camera before, and if this camera was one of the first ones to sell, it is pretty possible to get 10,000 clicks. I don't mind it though, I'm not this kind of freak who cares about shutter count so much. This is mainly a DSLR era problem and Sony's a7 III. On a side note, shutter count is not that much big of a deal in modern cameras. Up to 50, 100 or even 150,000 shutter actuations is very much doable without any problems. But anyway, 10,000 is quite a mileage, so I see it as a chance to talk about X Pro 3 durability and issues. I think it will be useful since before the new X Pro 4 comes out, the prices would hit the lowest point soon and many people would consider getting X Pro 3. Even though I didn't do that many clicks myself, but plentiful, that's for sure. I've taken my X Pro 3 with me on few travels as well as street and casual shootings. Like I said before in my first video about it, X Pro 3 performance-wise is more than capable for its purpose. And it's really important to understand the real purpose of the camera, because many folks out there just wanna go for it because of the cool styling, but then start to complain about the camera itself. Listen, if you are one of those who need IBIS, flip screen or HDMI port, there are better cameras for you in Fuji lineup. And if you grumble about Fuji's ISO and autofocus, just get a Sony camera. That camera is made for you. I know you heard it so many times before, but I'll say it again. X Pro 3 is an extremely niche camera and it is not supposed to satisfy average consumers' priorities. You wanna get all the best possible for your money? Go with Sony. Photographers choose cameras not like middle-aged men choosing a new toaster at Best Buy. And talking about niche cameras, if you have any doubts about the screen or hybrid EVF, then for sure don't get an X Pro camera, go for a more conventional design. As for me, I got experience with X Pro 1 before I got X Pro 3, so with it in my hands I feel like at home. I love the fact that I can freely bring the viewfinder up to my eye without bumping my nose into the screen. I feel the connection with the scene when I use the optical viewfinder, which in turn helps me to compose better. I dig all the manual controls and dials, that means I don't need to go into menus every time. And like it or not, hidden screen does get you to stop chimping all the time. All of that is exactly what I was looking for, because before, every travel felt like a gig. X Pro 3 helps me to take pictures and enjoy my travel, my company, my surroundings without distracting my eyes and hands too much. I just take the camera and go. The auto white balance is awesome. It is always spot on, unlike some of the other cameras. For what I shoot, I normally use single point AF, and this way all I can say is that it's very reliable and I have no complaints about that whatsoever. 26 megapixel sensor produces great RAW files that shine in Capture One, and I can rape those RAWs in Photoshop as much as I want. The latitude of possible is considerable. As for the battery life, it's rated for 370 shots using EVF and 440 with OVF, which is great for this kind of small camera. I guess it also depends on your habits. For instance, I do use OVF quite often and turn on and off the camera between the shots. That would make a single charge last me for at least a couple of days of use. And it does have USB-C charging, which can help you too. But of course, the battery life will be worse if you constantly use EVF and screen, keep your camera on and shoot a lot of videos. Duh! But again, if you do, you better get another camera. Now my X Pro 3 has a Duratact coating. It is a fancy protective layer on top of titanium plates that is supposed to be scratch resistant. As for that, it does protect from small unintended scratches and natural wear, but obviously it cannot save you from everything. I'm generally very careful with my gear, so my cameras are normally in a good shape, but I saw some other X Pro 3s with huge bumps and scratches, so don't be naive about this Duratect coating. Don't open beers or hit the nails with it and you'll be fine. The other thing people are complaining about is that the Duratect coating is a fingerprint and dirt magnet. And it is partly true. I don't have sweaty hands myself, but if you do, get the cheaper standard black version. Dirt does stick to the surface easy, but to be fair, a generous 2-3 minute cleaning with an alcohol wipe does the job pretty good. You might consider getting a Duratect Silver instead of Duratect Black. Lighter color won't make stains so visible. I'm not sure whether they'll keep this coating in future models, but if they don't, I won't miss it. I also like that the eyepiece is now plastic instead of rubber rings like in X Pro 1 and 2, because this way it will slide freely against your body and it won't get dirt and dust on itself and inside. Another small thing to mention is that my hands are big and it is not always comfortable to open the display from the first time. It doesn't occur all the time, but still. I feel like the way they did the cutout in X100V is much better. Besides that, I don't have anything else to talk about really. The shooting experience and workflow with X Pro 3 can be described simply as enjoyable. There are, however, some misconceptions that people have about X Pro 3 right from the beginning, and honestly, they are nothing but myths. First of all, hidden screen does let you shoot from up-down if you really need to, just turn the camera upside down. Second, it is possible to screw in your quick release blade in the way that would let the screen go all the way down, unless of course you are using a big ass video tripod like DP Review. But anyway, X Pro is not really odd to be sitting on a tripod. One more aspect of X Pro 3 screen is that the ribbon cable is exposed, and many would say that it can cause some damage or excessive wear. Well, actually, many other cameras also expose their LCD cables and nobody complained about that before. As for our case, you don't need to worry about it since the black part you see is not the ribbon itself, it is a metal cover over the ribbon. I honestly cannot imagine anything accidental that can happen to it. Another myth is that it is very uncomfortable and impossible to work with the ISO dial. Yes, it would be nice to have the mechanism similar to X100V where the ring locks in the upwards position. X Pro's way, where you need to hold it, is not that much of a deal though. It might take you some time to get used to, but overall I have no problem switching between few stops in one swift move. If it really bugs you, you can always assign ISO to one of the control wheels. Lastly, there were reports of some major quality issues, but I haven't encountered any of them. Some people say their X Pro broke down for this or that reason, but none seem to be consistent enough to call it a factory fault or something. I completely agree that for the premium price, none of the problems must occur. But let's be fair here. There's always some percent of faulty products. Even the most luxurious and expensive Leica cameras have plenty of issues. If you keep everything up to date, treat your gear nicely and use it according to its purpose, chances are you'll be alright. And if not, the good thing is that most of the issues reported online seem to be resolved under warranty for free. I have already made a video about how an X Pro 4 can look like, and I can't wait to see what Fuji will come up with next. The question today is whether X Pro 3 is still worth buying and keeping. And the answer is yes, definitely. I mean, even X Pro 2 is great for what it's made for. Even my X Pro 1 doesn't seem that far from X Pro 3. The target audience of X Pro line cameras aren't after some latest tech or features. X Pro 3 is hell of a camera. Anything they'll add to X Pro 4 is really non-essential. Think about it. At minimum, everything will stay the same with minor tweaks. At max, they will add the high-res sensor, new battery and IBIS, which again are non-essential for X Pro cameras. If you're really waiting for all of that, I've told you already, you'll be better off with another camera. X Pro 3 packs plenty of performance, it can even shoot 4K. In other words, if you're not willing to wait for X Pro 4 or spend extra money for it, X Pro 3 is still a great camera for everyday use, and I think that for most it will be more than enough. If you have anything to add about X Pro 3 experience, positive or negative, feel free to share it in the comments. If you like this video and you want to say thank you, consider getting me a coffee. You can find the link in the description below. That would support me a lot and definitely get me sober till the next episode.